on Facebook Live, and we are live on Comedy Schools Radio Network.com. Everything is in working order here right now, ladies and gentlemen. Cheryl, you want to do me a favor and turn on the overhead light here? It's this shot's a little dark. The shot on YouTube looks fantastic. You can see everything clearly. It's the shot on Facebook that we're trying to improve a little bit. I think that improves it a wee tiny bit. Let's just bring it in a little bit here. There we go, ladies and gentlemen, 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, which means that it is time for Living on a Thin Line. It is our daily 7 days a week, 2 p.m. podcast. It comes to you Mountain Standard Time. It comes to you on Facebook Live. Hello, Jim Perry. It comes to you on YouTube on the Comedy Schools channel. And it also comes to you on ComedySchoolsRadioNetwork.com. 3 ways to access it live. If you just want to listen, if you're in the car or you're doing yard work, or making yourself if you're making yourself a nice pasta dish, then you probably maybe just want to listen. And you can do that on ComedySchoolsRadioNetwork.com. Hello to Jim Perry, John Tate, Kevin Brown, Chad Flannery. Kim Brown says, hello, Tony and world. Yes, hello, world. This is the way that we're going to stay connected. This is not a podcast. This is a community. A guy named Jim Lacey, a songwriter from Texas, who I made friends with through social media, was the one who said that I should do this every day as a way to keep people connected. So I thought, what the heck? What else am I doing right now? Oddly enough, for so many of us, there are hello, Daniel Bros. Hello, Tina and Mike Lawson. Hello, Jim Perry. Oddly enough, for a lot of us, some of us are busier than we were prior to the current situation. Hello, Kyle Stadler. A lot of the people I know who are teachers whose modus operandi was to get in their car, go to a school and teach in a classroom, now have all this extra work they have to do as they're building out these classes online, whether it's college classes like my brother Jerry teaches, or high school classes, or any type at all. Randy Hausner, there you go, promoter extraordinaire. Tim Law says, happy Saturday, Tony. We're going to get a few more people on, then we're going to kick off the show like we always do with some fun stuff. You can see one of the fun things sitting right there if you're looking on YouTube, but if you're on Facebook or you're listening, it's still going to be a surprise. Randy Hauser says, hey, Big Pimpin', how you doing? That's Randy Hauser's nickname for me, Big Pimpin'. He's called me that ever since I've known him. And Randy, my question for you is Big Pimpin' something you call a lot of people, or was that particularly for me? Let's see. Sammy J says, breaking news, quarantine has led to residents having less in-home dog shit. Sammy, you're going to have to straighten that joke out, okay? Timothy Roberts is watching. Hello, Timothy. So for a lot of them, they've actually been busier setting all of this up than they were prior to that. Some people are not as busy. I get that too. So we'll get all this worked out, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to ride this out. One of the ways we're going to ride this out is by staying connected through social media, staying connected through the internet, staying connected in our hearts and souls to the people that we love. Okay, so we always start out the show by showing you some goofy knickknack we've collected, because I got a lot of stuff I connected. And here today, you can see it on Facebook Live. Here, you can see it on YouTube. There on Facebook Live, there on YouTube, is a bobblehead, one of the few left of my bobblehead connection, of a Los Angeles Dodger named Brian Wilson. And I know hardly anything about Brian Wilson. I just know that this is a damn cool bobblehead because it's got the beard. And then down here with a little rubber band, he's got like, I don't even know what you call that, where your beard is kind of, you got like a beard tail, like a ponytail for your beard. I know that. And his head doesn't bobble that well, to be honest with you. But he does have the bearded ponytail. He obviously played for the Los Angeles Dodgers, hence the bobblehead. I forget exactly where I got this particular bobblehead. I did not go to an LA Dodgers game and get the bobblehead. I just have it. Either someone gave it to me or I bought it at a garage sale or some such truck like that. But every day we're going to show you like fun little things we collect. I've got a huge collection of inconsequential stuff. A huge collection of inconsequential stuff. Stamps and coins and bobbleheads and knickknacks of all sorts. And we're going to be showing them to you through the week. Maybe you got a request. You go, hey, do you have this kind of stuff? Let's see that, or that kind of stuff. Let's see that, but I got it. We also are then mentioning music every day. Charles Kaminsky, hello, Charles. Hello, Randy. We're mentioning music every day. We thought perhaps that as people are looking for other things to do, you're home and you've had your routine and you had the things that you're involved with, but now as maybe if it's possible that a sameness sets in and you go, wow, I need to branch out and look at other things. We would mention music that I have a huge collection of vinyl albums, which I hadn't listened to in years. It's not that I hadn't listened to a lot of the music that was on vinyl. I had just gotten it through other media, either through cassettes at one time or through CDs or now even downloads. So I'm going to revisit my vinyl collection. It's kind of what I've been doing. And I thought I would share some of the records with you. Some of these I've owned since I was a little kid in the 60s, and some are more recent. But it's a huge collection of hundreds of albums. And that possibly, if you hadn't heard of the artist, that you might want to go visit them. Hello, Champ from West Virginia. You might want to go and check out, looking for new things to listen to, new things to read, new ideas, new thoughts, new creativity. That's one of the things. I've got this constant creative curiousness. Is that what it would be? Would that be the word curiousness? Is that the word? Anybody know?
Curiosity.
Creative curiosity. I don't think curiousness is a word. It may not be a word. I have this creative curiosity. And then I even like to find out how they made what they made. It's like if you ever talk to my brother Jerry about painting, because he's an art professor, if you ever go with my brother Jerry, and when this is all over, we should do this. We should have a big field trip to where my brother lives, and he'll take us to art museums. And not only will we look at paintings, he'll be able to tell us about the painter and the artist and what inspired it. And it gives you a whole new perspective on what you're looking at. So anyway, we thought that we would mention every day show a couple of records. And if you hadn't heard of these people, you could check them out on YouTube. If you had listened to them at one time, hello, Bob Rocky. Hello, Bobby Rock. Bobby Rock is with us here. Great guy who on our regular pre-situation crisis podcast was becoming a regular contributor. Great guy. Joe Corcoran, great guy. All you guys joining in. Anyway, if you had listened to these people and forgot about it, you might want to go back and revisit it. So the first album we have, okay, and these guys still get played on certain FM stations, classic rock stations, etc. But still bearing. There you go. You see that? YouTubers, you see that? Okay, Facebook Live friends, you see that? That is an album called The Marshall Tucker Band Greatest Hits. I have a lot of greatest hits albums because when I was a kid, albums were expensive, and oftentimes an entire album contained nothing but incredible songs. But oftentimes an entire album contained one great song and then a bunch of so-so songs. So I always thought I got my money's worth at that time by buying greatest hits albums. Later on, I would buy entire albums so I could go, well, what am I missing? What is on that album that everybody's going, that's not any good, that I'll like? The Marshall Tucker Band consisted of Tommy Caldwell, Toy Caldwell, I guess they were brothers, Jerry Eubanks, Doug Gray, George McCorkle, and Paul Riddle. On this album, there were some really great tunes that are still sometimes played on classic rock stations. Can't You See, Hurt and Love Song, Searching for a Rainbow, Ramblin', Fire on the Mountain, This Old Cowboy, 24 Hours at a Time, and Long Hard Ride. Especially Can't You See and Fire on the Mountain were huge album-oriented rock hits. Can't You See, that's right, Bob. That's right. Were huge album-oriented rock station hits. This was at a time when rock stations were starting to play a lot of kind of country music, Vince Ramirez is watching. Hello, Vince. Rock stations were starting to play kind of country music because so many of our artists had gone that way. The guys who were in the Byrds, which were like this psychedelic band, were all of a sudden playing country music. Bob Dylan was putting out a country album. Crosby, Stills, and Nash Young came along. So kind of a folk country thing. So on radio stations that had been playing the Electric Prunes, okay, and the Strawberry Alarm Clock just a couple years before, they were playing groups like the Marshall Tucker Band. Okay, so if you like good, good folk country rock music, please revisit that album if you're just looking for new things to listen to. And the second album we're going to talk about today, or just show you and tell you little stories about, is this one. Everybody see that? YouTubers, you see that? Everybody see that? That is none other than a group called Jethro Tull. Very interesting band, Jethro Tull. Of course, we all know that Ian Anderson was the lead singer for Jethro Tull, and also played the flute. So when you think rock music, when you think 60s and 70s, you don't think flute, okay? But they played flute, and they sounded incredible. On this album, I guess the big hits were "Saucity, Your Woman," "Time for Everything," and "Nothing Is Easy." So this was not this one here. Let me show it to you one more time. This was not their giant hit. That wasn't their giant hit album. Their giant hit album came not too long after that with a album called Aqualung, a concept album, kind of about a homeless guy, and the later on album called Thick as a Brick. I saw the Aqualung concert. We went to see them at Kiel Auditorium in St. Louis, Missouri. I know I was still in high school, so it was before 1973. Incredible show. They told us all we had to be quiet because we were kind of rowdy. If you're not quiet, we're not going to continue to play. Now you can scoot all your seats up a little bit, because, we were kind of sitting far back on the floor. Everybody on the floor can scoot up a little bit so you're closer to the band. But now we're going to play. And they played the entire Thick as a Brick album. They kind of fell out of favor after that. They had a couple other hits. And then a weird thing happened in the 80s. Not bad weird, just weird. Cross-Eyed Mary. Yeah, that was on Aqualung, Bobby Rock. A weird kind of thing happened where heavy metal had become a kind of hot music with Megadeth and Metallica and bands of that nature. And there was no category for best heavy metal album with the Grammys. And the Grammys are kind of stodgy, and they're always a little bit behind the times. But there was no category for it. So they created a best heavy metal album for the Grammys, and Jethro Tull won. And a riot damn near ensued. People went, well, no, they're not heavy metal. This is bullshit. They're some 70s art rock band. And it's true, they're mainly an art rock band. They're mainly a prog rock band. But Aqualung had those heavy riffs in it that gave birth to so much heavy metal. So a couple albums for you to think about if you're looking for something to listen to. And even if you know Jethro Tull, and what you know is Aqualung or Thick as a Brick, or even Living in the Past, check out the album Benefit. Also Marshall Tucker. Go back and visit them again, because that's great music. There will come a time in the very near future. Hold on, what Shirley was it? What are you saying? Shirley? You didn't like Marshall Tucker? A lot of people, by the way, I didn't realize what I had just done. And I had picked two albums today, and they were random picks. And both the bands had flute players in them. Both the bands had flute players. And that was not on purpose. That was just what I grabbed. That's some sort of odd kismet. I saw the Marshall Tucker band with Leonard Skinner in the 70s as well. So anyway, go back and listen to these. Check them out. If you're looking for new things, we're going to start recommending books as well. We're going to ask you to send us, if you get any poems or short stories or anything you might like us to read on the air. Send them to me at comedyschools@hotmail.com. That's comedyschools@hotmail.com. Daniel Bros was watching, then he left. Now he's back. He was watching, then he left. Now he's back. Yesterday, I don't know. I'm going to just leave this right here. That's night. Yesterday, we had a huge conversation about sandwiches and what constitutes a good sandwich. All right. Let's see. Lizzo plays the music and plays the flute in her music too. That's right, Angela Fox. She does. It was unusual in the 70s, in the late 60s, or basically 70s, to have bands that had flute in them, because music at the time was almost rock music, as it became not rock and roll, but rock, as music from the mid 60s forward got defined as for a long time, was almost a guitar drum, was almost exclusively a guitar, drum, keyboard kind of thing. Can anybody out there tell me two bands that had double drummers? This might be if Vince is still on. Two bands that had double drummers, one which is still in existence today in a certain incarnation. I'm going to have a little drink of water, y'all, if you don't mind. No, Shirley, you cannot guess.
Why?
Because you're part of the staff. Shirley's over there guessing. She guessed one, but there's actually another one too that was huge for many, many years that had two drummers, and no one's guessing. No one can figure this out. So, like I said yesterday, we had a huge conversation about sandwiches. So here's my question for you guys today. Have any of you ever just drank pickle juice? This is not a dystopian question. I'm talking about when you were younger or even now, you got pickles in the fridge. You know, you got hamburger dill slices in the fridge. You've got some sort of things. Let's see. Angela Fox says, yes, and flutes are for nerds. It is unique for Lizzo to play it too. Always good to stand out. Yeah. Well, for a while, though, bands like Marshall Tucker and Jethro Tull made flutes non-nerdy. There was also a band called The Flock that had was kind of a regional hit in the 70s in St. Louis that had a flute player and a violin player. You know, but for the most part, rock music was always defined with guitars, one or two rhythm guitar, lead guitar, bass guitar, drums, and maybe a keyboard player. Other things started getting added later on. There might be horns, but the horn players weren't members of the band. Kind of like the Beatles and the Rolling Stones kind of defined what a rock band consisted of. But now we're talking pickle juice. You guys got me? That's our topic right now, pickle juice. What's that? Cold pickle juice? All right, yeah, I've never heard of anybody heating it up. You know, first off, I got to get an answer.
Room temperature.
I got to get an answer from someone on. Tim Lawson says he drinks it for heartburn, but do you like the taste? You know, I put it out here to you guys. Tim Lawson's kind of giving us an answer here, but I haven't heard from Jim or Kevin or Chad or anybody. Have you ever drank pickle juice? Sandy DePerna Phillips is watching. Hello, Sandy. Sandy booked me into many a great club and some not great clubs, but always kept me working. Oh, Champ de Blasio says, did the Allman Brothers have double drummers? Yes, Champ, they did. They were a double drummer band. I cannot remember the name of the double drummers, but they did. I think one was, I can't remember, it was Barry Oakley or Butch Trucks. I can't remember the names of the drummers in the Allman Brothers band. The other band, if no one was a guest, it had double drummers, was the Grateful Dead with Mickey Hart and Bill Kreutzmann. And Mickey Hart and Bill Kreutzmann still tour today and will tour again in a few months. You watch and see with an outfit called Dead and Company, which consists of those two drummers and Bob Weir, and then a band built around that. That is an excellent band with John Mayer. Sandy DePerna says, hi, I love to drink pickle juice. Kevin Brown says pickle juice is great after a workout. Is that true? I've never heard that. I mean, I used to work out a lot. May not show now at 64, but I used to work out a lot and I never drank pickle juice afterwards. I just like the taste of it. Sonic sells a pickle juice slush. Yeah. Whoa. I didn't know. Does anybody out there hate pickle juice? Does anybody think the idea of going to the fridge and just open up a jar of pickles and drinking the juice is a bad idea? Chad Flannery says pickle juice. I think I've had some a long time ago. Not anything that I necessarily seek out. Makes my mouth water for jalapeno juice. So for you, Chad, pickle juice is a precursor. It's a gateway juice. I've never heard of that. Is it a gateway juice? Nick Rupert says pickle juice increases your sperm count. I don't know what to say about that. You know, it puts more power in your pickle. Is that what you're trying to say? Pickle juice puts power in your pickle. There, I'm writing the commercial for it. Hi, need more power in your pickle? Try pickle juice. Here it's Sonic. That's a pretty good commercial. You know, I should be in the commercial business. So far, I got to be honest with you. So far, the responses on pickle juice here are pretty almost all positive. Nobody's saying it's gross or nobody's saying it's disgusting. The first time I ever drank it, by the way, was on a bet, on a dare with some people when I was in high school. You know, where you're all together at someone's house and you're all drinking because that's the house where the parents are gone for the weekend. And they went, no parties. And of course, you immediately had a party. And we were all drinking and smoking and laughing and joking and toking. And somehow pickle juice got pulled out, and there was a bet or a $5. Somebody said to give me $5 if I drank it. I don't remember I had to drink the whole jar, but I was broke. I needed the $5. So I drank it. I don't remember if I drank the whole jar, but I went, God damn, this is good. Now, I don't drink it a lot now, okay? But for many years, I would just every once in a while just go, I'm going to swig me some pickle juice. And oftentimes, if I did that in front of someone, they got quite disgusted. Daniel Bro says, but no one will screw you after you drink pickle juice. So that might be the issue here. Pickle juice might put power in your pecker, but it is putrid for your pucker. Pickle juice puts power in your pecker, but it's putrid for your pucker. That's stupid. I just said something absolutely stupid. Sandy DePerna says the home remedy for something. That's I think Tim Lawson here. Let me scroll down what Tim said. Tim said, I'm losing you, Tim. Tim said, yeah, okay, no, I lost it. But he said, I think he said he drinks it for an upset stomach. So this is the great pickle juice. What's that?
Isn't it for weight loss?
Pickle juice can be for weight loss. Hold on, sometimes I get messages here while I'm talking to you guys that have nothing to do with what's going on. I just got to pop them out of here. There we go. Kim Brown says, what flavor? That's the question. And the question is it dill, gherkins, bread and butter, etc.? Casper Suarez is watching right now. The question for those of you just popping on is, have you ever drank pickle juice? Do you like pickle juice? Okay. And then now we're talking about particular types of pickle juice. So what I like is a sort of a sour dill, like a hamburger dill is my all-time favorite pickle. Hamburger dills are my all-time favorite pickle. And I love hamburger dills pickle juice. I don't like sweet pickles first. I mean, I'll eat them. This is like a childhood thing. It is like a childhood thing. So Daniel Bro says purple. I don't know what that means, purple. Are you saying that you like purple pickle juice? Yeah, purple pickle juice puts power in your pecker that makes your pucker putrid. So then how do we solve if it puts power in our pecker, but then it makes our pucker putrid? How do we solve that issue? We're ready to go, we're ready to rock and roll, but we are emanating an odor that does not attract partners. Sandy DePerna Phillips says it's good for muscle cramps, hydration, weight loss, and regulating blood sugar. Well, I'll be goddamn. See, I did not know all those years ago when on a drunken bet, I sat there and drank pickle juice in front of a bunch of people and had them go, ooh, oh God, you did that. That I was actually doing this. I was actually doing a health remedy. I had no idea. Yes, these are Angela Fox deep questions here. That's kind of what we're going to do on this show. We're going to keep it fun. We're going to keep it silly. We're going to keep it goofy. We're going to keep it light. I don't know, Daniel Rose, what Viagra is. He put a Viagra. Casper Suarez, am I saying your last name right, Casper? Says bread and butter. Angela Fox says my pecker has enough power. Okie dokie there, Angela Fox. So that's the problem. After you drink pickle juice, I guess you got to take some sort of mint or aperitif, something that then cleanses the palate. Something that cleanses the palate. Speaking of cleansing the palate, my daughter reminded me of something this morning. The last time I was in Los Angeles, a little over a month ago, she and I went on a hike in the San Fernando Valley in a place that I've been hiking many times with her when she was little and her as an adult and with my brother Jerry. And I've got photos of some of these hikes. I'll put them up. Not too far from the city, but man, you're out in the country and there was a bush there and I kind of caught a whiff of it and I kind of touched it. Or maybe she touched it, go smell this, Dad. And it was delicious. It was just the most delicious smell. And she was grinning at me and she says, you know what that is? I go, it's a weed. And she goes, no. She goes, that's called cowboy cologne. Cowboy cologne. So it is a wild bush that grows in the West, particularly in California, that just has the greatest smell and the greatest odor. And supposedly in the olden days, cowboys would rub it on themselves to reduce the smell of cow shit when they came into town. And I told her that when this is over And the first thing I'm able to do when I go to Los Angeles, she and I are going to hike back into that beautiful canyon in the San Fernando Valley, and I'm going to roll in that stuff. Let's see. Chad Flannery says cinnamon schnapps. Cinnamon schnapps may get rid of the smell of pickle juice without a doubt. Nick Rupert said, I just made up that increases your sperm count. We've based an entire conversation, Nick, on this supposition, only to find out that it is not real, but we're okay with it. Peggy Brindle says, I can't believe Sandy DePerna Phillips, she dropped me off, just left me in a psychic's house. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. That's right. You guys are neighbors. So it's good to see both of you here. Sandy's here. Peggy's here. Regular contributors to my Facebook, on my Facebook page. Hey, what you want to do is, here's what we're going to do, okay? We're not going to go real long this afternoon. I'm going to tell you why. We got a special treat for you guys, or maybe a special treat for us. Tonight at 7 o'clock, we're going to do a 7 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. We're going to do a special edition of Living on a Thin Line. We're going to call it the Living on a Thin Line Saturday Night Jubilee. And we're going to maybe do it from a different room in the house to give you guys a different look. And we're going to go and we're going to do a 7 o'clock show. Whereas we're looking for something to do in the evening besides watching all the reruns on television, we're going to be able to commiserate here like we're doing right now. Why am I doing this at 2 o'clock in the afternoon? Just so you know, a songwriter named Jim Lacey said I should do it every day. Someone who I met through social media who turns out to be a wonderful guy. And we're going to, and I said, okay. And some reason we did it at 2 and decided to set it that time, and mainly because normally this is when I take a nap. Normally, now Jerry Vicich is watching. Now Emily Dell is watching. Usually around 2 o'clock is when I take a nap. And that means that I always know that I'm going to be home regardless at 2 o'clock. However my day was organized, I was always home around that time to make sure that I caught about an hour nap. So we decided to do the show at 2. So that's what we're doing. But tonight, on Saturday night, so we got something Saturday night to do. Might even dress up. You know what? I might even dress up. I'm going to put on a shirt with a collar on it. Okay, I might do some. I might fancy it up a little bit. Put on my sailing shoes. Let's see. Sandy says, "Thank goodness you can't see us. I bet we're all wearing PJs. You may well. You know, and that's okay right now." Chad Flannery says, "Google tells me that cowboy cologne is AKA California sagebrush, also a moth repellent. There you go. So you'll smell good, and no moths will land on you. I've never needed a moth repellent. You think me like moth balls, Chad Flannery, to keep from moths from eating your clothes? Your clothes are made of wool. Anyway, tonight, 7 o'clock, special edition of Living on a Thin Line, the Saturday Night Jubilee. We're going to bring that to you live in just a few hours. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your pals there's something to do on Saturday night. And that is come on Facebook Live and listen to me prattle on about pickle chews, sandwiches, and old rock albums and bubbleheads.
Pickle shoes.
And what?
You said pickle shoes.
I said pickle shoes. That's what my producer has told me. By the way, if you're enjoying this, you've got to give a special thanks to my wife, who happens to be my producer, Shirley Lowe Vicich, who has put together the entire technological end of all of this, set all this up so that we can be on a internet-based radio station on YouTube, on Facebook Live. This is all her doing, and I appreciate her and love her very much. Before we go, what did I do today so far? Okay, and I don't know what you guys are doing to kind of keep it together a little bit. We are doing the social distancing thing, major, big time. We're doing it major, big time. We're working on what we have to do to keep home and heart together. Okay, and a lot of this stuff is Chad Flannery says, thank you, Shirley. Chad says that. We're doing what we have to do to keep home and heart together, and that can be stressful. I know it for all of us, me, you, all of us. So far, we're getting a lot of Shirley compliments. We're going to thank you, Shirley, from Flad, from Chad. Nick Rupert is saying, go Shirley. Jerry Vicich says, yay, Shirley. And Sandy saying, thanks, Shirley. So they're all thanking you.
That's sweet.
That is sweet. Yeah. Yeah. She is a lifesaver, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, moms and dads. She is great. She put all this together. So far today, I was going to wrap up, but we'll talk about this a little more as we have new people popping in. Old roommate Kelly Wilson, brother Jer. We are doing the social distancing thing. We're fortunate to live in a neighborhood with a large park, a master plan community with 44-acre green space. So I'm still able to get my dog out and go for a walk for anywhere from a half hour to an hour a day. It's a huge park. When you go to our park with a walkway around it and walkways through it, it has a swing set for kids. It's got playground equipment. It's got picnic areas, gazebos, a basketball court off in the corner. It's got all this nice stuff. And I still see a few people out, it almost kind of looks normal, because it's kind of a quiet subdivision anyway. So there's still a few cars going up and down the road, some observing the speed limit, some going a little faster, like who's going to stop us? But there'll be a couple little kids out riding on their bikes. We have a disc golf course out here. A couple of groups of disc golf players playing golf. You'll see a family kind of having a picnic. So, but everybody is pretty far apart. Everybody's pretty safe, but you still see a certain amount of joy. So I was able to get out with Roscoe today. Did that. Shirley and I got up and had breakfast. Went out and walked Roscoe. We're just kind of taking it easy, kicking back today. Talked to my man Kevin O'Day in Los Angeles, who is also a big part of keeping all this together. Does all of our email blasts, does all of our website on comedyschools.com. Last night I talked to my good friend Lance Lane. I'm staying in touch with friends. My friend Kurt Matthews in San Francisco. Reach out to your friends, even briefly. I know the conversation is a little strange because you call people, go, what are you doing? I'm sitting in my house. What are you doing? Sitting in my house. But let's not isolate even though we're isolated. Let's not isolate even though we're isolated. We can bring together huge communities through these methods that we're using right now. You and I can do it. Tonight at 7 o'clock, if you tune in at 7 o'clock for the Living on Thin Line Saturday Night Jubilee, maybe you start a watch party. Let people know. Ask them to join the watch party. And we have a watch party. I'll come up with some inventive, fun things to ask you guys and inventive, fun things to talk about. And we're going to have a Saturday night show, okay? We're going to have a Saturday night show. There are no sports on right now. All the film and television productions has come to a halt. All the late night shows have come to a halt. The only thing new is me and you. Peggy Brindle just asked me, what did I eat? You mean just for breakfast? What did I eat? Or what did I eat for breakfast? Okay, fair enough. I had an egg. Okay, I have one egg now, one egg every morning. I've eaten eggs every day my entire life. I had an egg with a little cheese sprinkled on it. I had a piece of sourdough toast, and I had fruit. I think I had, blueberries and bananas. Strawberries and bananas. So I had some fruit, and I had an egg, and I had a little bit of cheese, and that was my breakfast. It's kind of like been my breakfast. For years, I ate bacon and eggs every day. But then I kind of cut back on the bacon. So that's my breakfast. I had a bagel for lunch. I'm keeping it together physically. You guys keep it together physically too. Okay? I'm able to walk my dog for, like I said, 30 minutes to an hour. If you're not able to do that, just do some minor walking in place in your house while you're watching television. Do a few calisthenics. I'm doing a few calisthenics. I'm back to what I used to call my old jailhouse routine. Jailhouse routine was doing sit-ups and push-ups while I was sitting in a hotel room by myself somewhere in some town out in the middle of nowhere when I was doing stand-up. Joe Gannon is watching from Texas. Joe, how are things in Texas? I forget what city you moved to. It may have been Dallas. James Connolly is watching. The very funny James Connolly is with us. And James, I don't know where you're watching from. If any of you guys just want to chime in and tell us where you're watching from, we would love to, or listening, we would love to hear that. Shirley will keep me apprised if any questions pop up on ComedySchoolsRadioNetwork.com. And of course, if you want to watch us on YouTube, it's on the Comedy Schools channel. And the only reason you might want to is that it's a different shot. It's a much bigger shot. You see much more of the room here. And as I'm looking at it, it looks like a pretty cool shot. I like it because you can see the phone that I'm talking to you on Facebook Live. And you can see the microphone a little better and stuff. Joe is near Houston. Of course, Peggy is in Indiana. Joe, how's things in Houston, Flusher, Texas? How are things in Houston? How are you and your wife and family doing? That wonderful family of yours. You might. Oh, by the way, there's a very funny comic in town named Eric Hughes, and in the middle of all of this, in the middle of all this hootenanny, his wife just gave birth to a beautiful baby boy. So we want to congratulate Eric Hughes, who's a funny guy. If you ever get a chance to Google Eric Hughes comedian, Eric Hughes Phoenix comedian, and see his impersonation of David Attenborough on what's the name of that show David Attenborough does about animals, Shirley?
It's just all kinds.
Where he talks like this, and then the whales mate. You know the show. You guys know what show I'm talking about.
Nature show.
Nature shows. Google Eric Hughes and see his drop dead funny impersonation of David Attenborough and his nature show, talking about how the hyenas then got angry. It's a pretty cool thing to see. His wife gave birth to a beautiful baby boy in the midst of all this. So in the midst of what is for many of us a little time of turmoil, a little time, Planet Earth. Thank you, Randy. Thank you. Planet Earth is the name of the show. In the midst of this time when there's a lot of turmoil for many of us, some good happened. Valerie Roberts is watching. A year ago right now, Shirley and I and Valerie were in New York City. A year ago right now, Shirley, Valerie, and I were I'm supposed to be in New York City right now. Right now at this moment, Shirley and I are supposed to be in New York City, bumming around in lifts and Ubers and going through Times Square and going to Broadway shows, and hanging out in our hotel. That's what we're supposed to be doing. We're not, but we will again. My prediction, a year from now, I'll be able to meet all my New York friends back in New York a year from now. God knows I got the plane ticket. And then tonight we were supposed to have a show at Vito's Restaurant in Mesa. Great old style Italian place. Josh Graves was going to headline the place for a first time. That show will be back this summer. You mark my words. No, Peggy, it wasn't Mutual of Omaha. It's a new show right now. Joe Gannon asked Casper Suarez, we're in this together. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. And what we've got over previous generations that had to do this, and previous generations had to do this. Previous generations had to do this quarantine thing when this kind of situation arose, and not just not just in 1918, but in other times. They didn't have this way to stay connected. We do, so we're going to do it. That's right. Valerie says I bumped you guys on 42nd Street one night, and we got photos of that. We took a selfie. If you remember, Valerie, we took a selfie of all of us there on 42nd Street. That's right. We were walking down to our hotel, the Yotel at 42nd and 10th, and you were bumming around. And that's the beauty of New York City that will return in a city full of millions of people. You'll be walking down the street, and there's someone you know. Joe, things are good in Phoenix, Maricopa. Joe's asking what's going on in Phoenix, Maricopa. Phoenix is on the governor has not put the state on lockdown, but many mayors are putting their towns on lockdown, essential services and stuff. Of course, restaurants are open, doing takeout. Gas stations are open, grocery stores are open, and pharmacies are open. Those are the only things that are open. Pretty much everybody's home. Everybody's just taking it a day at a time. And for you, Joe, I don't know if I caught Joe, if you told us, I'm not seeing it. Sandy says, my sister lives in Houston. She says it's getting pretty scary. Sandy, what's going on where you live in Indiana? I forget exactly what town you're in. Are you guys on total lockdown? Is there anybody that's watched right now who's in a county, state, or region that's not in a state of major lockdown? They've gone even stronger with the lockdown, I know, in Los Angeles, where they had to close down the beaches and the hiking trails because last weekend people just went, all right, we'll go to the beach. Okay. Peggy Brindle says they didn't have a fucking Cheetah for president either. Yeah. Well, yeah. Everybody knows my politics who's listening to the show, by the way, so far. Everybody knows how I feel. Everybody knows that I did not vote for the current occupant of the White House, nor will I vote for him in whatever constitutes the next election. But I'm kind of staying away from, I see a lot of, dark, scary, crazy things, a lot of anger, and I get that in the frustration on the internet, and I decided that will be the province of other people. And even though I share a lot of these opinions And even though for a long time my sense of humor was a very strong, kind of dark sense of humor, I've decided that during these times, I'm going to lighten it up. I'm going to come on this show and talk about sandwiches and hot dogs. And how a hot dog is not a sandwich. A hot dog is not a sandwich. We established that yesterday. And I'm going to talk about pickle juice. And I'm going to talk about rock albums and bobbleheads and fun collectibles to give us all a break from the break we've been given from our normal lives. This is the break that we get to take from the break we've been forced to take from our normal lives. This is going to be part of our normal routine. It's going to be part of mine. It's going to be part of yours. Champ de Blasio says, everything in West Virginia is on shutdown except essentials and the liquor stores because the liquor stores sell water. Beautiful. You know, I haven't had a drink in over 35 years. And one of the great things I got to do right at the beginning of all this, right at the very beginning, last week of February, beginning of March, I was able to be in Los Angeles and have my dear, dear, dear friend Lance Lane and his lovely wife, Marion. Lance, who I've known since the 70s, and Marion since she and Lance got married in the mid-80s. And Lance was the guy to help me get sober. Was able to give me a like a celebration cake for 35 years sobriety. And I hold on to that. That's now a cherished memory. Jerry, Sandy says, in Ohio, we're on lockdown. Yeah, Jerry Vicich says, my misanthropic tendencies have been temporarily eradicated. Too true, Jer. I agree with you 100%. That so sort of anti-people thing right now just won't work. You know, some people aren't getting this. We got a guy here in our neighborhood who's actually, when you get under it, he's a great guy, but he still wants to complain about the landscapers. Okay, and it's like, wow. He goes, I don't like the landscaping job they're doing. We're like, wow, we're lucky we even have landscapers right now. You know, I mean, at some point, these guys are going to go, we're not going to get out there. Cousin Lori's watching. Paige is watching from Montana. Hey, yo, Paige. For all of you that are just tuning in right now or tuning in the last 10 minutes, I've been trying to wrap up for the last 10 minutes. Then I see so many lovely people that I care about popping on. At 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time tonight. Don't ask me what that is in your time zone. You got to look that up yourself. 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We're going to do a special 7 o'clock show. This show is called Living on a Thin Line. Tonight's going to be called Living on a Thin Line, Comedy Jubilee. Yes, hello to you, Cousin Lori. We're going to do that tonight at 7 o'clock. So that we got something to do tonight as well that's new. Instead of going, well, I guess we can start watching The Sopranos again, which is something Shirley and I will probably end up doing. We love that show. Or, hey, let's dig out the DVDs. As we look for ways to keep health and head and heart and hearth together, there's nothing new being made right now except what we're doing. And so we're going to do it. Last Friday, we did 2 shows. Last Friday, I was supposed to go in for elective surgery on my back, a procedure, kind of like something called ablation, which is like high-end acupuncture. And I put it off because I'm going, wow, you know, the way things are going, I don't know if I should be at a clinic being knocked out with knockout drugs in the middle of all this. I need to have my head together for my family. So but I told people that we weren't going to do 2 o'clock because I was going to have a procedure. We ended up Friday doing 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. We loved it very much. Yeah, Lori. If guys, if you want to make recommendations here, I'd love to see that. Cousin Lori says Ozark on Netflix. Yes, but we've already watched both seasons of that, and we think it's fantastic. Joe again saying watch Tiger Kings. Paige Hewitt says watch The Wire. Yeah, The Wire is probably one of the greatest television shows ever made. I watched The Wire in its entirety when it first ran, and have watched it again, and we'll probably watch it again. This Tiger Kings is a phenomenon that everyone's talking about, and we have not looked at it yet, but I guess we eventually will. We tried watching Hunters. Is it Hunters, Shirley, with Al Pacino, or Nazi Hunters? Hunters with Al Pacino about a fictional story that would claim that in the 70s that members of Hitler's regime had infiltrated the United States government, and a group of Jewish, some Holocaust survivors fighting to take them out. But it just, even though Al Pacino is wonderful in it, and there's some wonderful acting in it, the show just didn't work, and we've lost interest. Jerry says season 3 is on. I'm assuming he means The Wire. Season 3 is on of Ozark. Cheryl.
Oh.
Okay. Third season of Ozark was just released as well. I think that's good. Tina Martinez, thirsty, drink pickle juice, use it in meatloaf recipe. Yum. For those of you coming in late, we were having a conversation about pickle juice. Okay. And if you ever drink it, if you think it's good. I drank it when I was a teenager on a $5 bet. Everybody was disgusted with me when I did it, but I did it. But now, and then I liked it. I did it and I liked it. I did it and I liked it. I drank it off and on ever since. Just if I go into the fridge and there's hardly any pickles in the pickle jar and I look at the juice, I'll just have a swig of this. Bob Dylan's released a new song. I heard that like a 17-minute song. We'll check that out. Sandy says, I've been going through some old stuff. I found the invitation to your 40th birthday party. Hoarder, that's right. A big party was thrown for me for my 40th birthday. Shirley threw me a huge party for my 60th birthday. And I'm going to see all of you at my 70th. Okay? You're all going to get an invitation to that. Kelly was this comedy a good place. Arthur Belkind says, happy Saturday. My mother used to make pickle soup. Pickle soup. That is a new one on me.
Sounds good.
And you know what? Doesn't sound bad right now. Pickle soup. All right, I got to wrap up, guys, because I got some things I got to do. We've been on almost 45 minutes, but 7 o'clock tonight, same time, same channel. Comedy Schools on YouTube. Tony Vicich, Facebook Live, and ComedySchoolsRadio.com network. You're going to be able to listen to our special Saturday night show, Living on a Thin Line, Comedy Jubilee. Also, if you're interested in doing workshops with us, we're set up on Zoom. We have an advanced class that meets every Wednesday at 6 p.m. on Zoom. And we're going to set up a basic beginner fundamentals class on Thursday nights at 6 p.m. Paige Hewitt, I know you were going to take a comedy class up there in Montana. This might be a way for you to be able to do it. Details will be coming by this weekend, okay, about how to do it, how to pay, how to get involved, all right? Tonight, 7 p.m., guys. I will see you then. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I look forward to seeing you guys in just a few hours. Love you all very much, all right? If you got a bobblehead, play with it. Bye-bye. All right, so those of you on YouTube, you get like a little bonus here at the end because it takes me a minute to turn it off. So once again, just to remind you guys, tonight, 7 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, we're back. So you're looking for something to do. That's it. Hold on. I'm going to go over here and push the button. All right, and that is going to end the show. Bye-bye.
It's a long show.
I'm hitting end stream. It's just hitting not yet. So now you're getting some good away. And I'm trying to get up the end. All right, YouTubers. I'm sorry. All right. Although it doesn't look like there's a lot of you. End stream. There we go.